nose and like eating it and doing some weird shit in there. Like, oh man. Oh. I was like picking my
All right.
nose and like eating it and doing
We'll
some weird
give it a
shit in
couple
there.
minutes
Like,
here to let
oh man.
things get going.
Yeah, sure.
Probably shouldn't have this over here though. Give it a couple minutes here to let things get going.
Yeah, we can crop all or edit all this stuff out of the video before we post it too. Just cut the
Oh,
first.
I don't edit. You know that.
Oh yes, yeah, we can crop all or edit all this stuff out of the video.
I forgot my soundboard. I need to get that set up.
Oh, that's right. I've got some things planned for draft night. As long as I'm still A2LM, we're gonna have some fun for it. Oh, that's pretty excited. I've got some things planned for draft night. As long as I'm still A2LM.
All right.
We're gonna have some fun for it.
Do we have anyone watching right now?
Henshaw said he's hopping on. I sent him the link.
Says
Henshaw said he's hopping on. I sent him the link. Let's see. I don't see any viewers currently, but
okay, that's fine. They can watch it later.
Yeah.
Let's I'm sure they'll come in as we're going through it.
Yeah, GroupMe's sounds like it's popping off.
Yeah.
Okay, Gauntz has a question. Let's see if he's trying to load this up.
I think he said he's at the movies.
Yeah, he is. Okay. All right. He wants to know how he can see his team from last year and get prepared for the draft.
Okay.
So
yeah. So if you want to look at your players that you can keep, let me just sign in real quick. You come here, you go to my team. So you can see here that I've already kind of slotted some keepers, but you go to keepers, and you can select whoever you want here. So go through, figure out which guys you want to keep. Nothing's binding until we reach the keeper deadline, which is it's in the settings. Keeper lock date, league draft date. So they lock it to draft date, and you're tied to those players. I might end up changing that because we're gonna need to move around. We're gonna need to move around the order of the draft and because traditionally I think you just give up your first overall or your first pick available to keep a player, but since the way we're doing it, it's gonna mess it all up. So I'm gonna have to fix it. We'll probably have to give me a few days before the draft. So that's when it'll lock. But yeah, aside from that, welcome to the stream. Hello, Osborne.
Hello, Brent. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm well. I like that little 10 you got next to your name there. It's nice. It suits you.
Yeah, I didn't have such a great year, but I traded away my greatest assets to the league winner. So I'll have you know that I lived vicariously through him.
It hurt a little when he made that move. I thought I was in a good position until then.
Watching LaShawn McCoy lay it on you in the league championship, it is all good. It's all good.
Someone's got to be the league villain, so I do my best.
Yeah. Well, you made that big trade with Henshaw, and then someone had to counter trade to at least give someone else a chance.
Yeah. It was a scary times. I mean, could have gone either way for me when that trade went through, and then I was looking good until you swooped in on me. But it is what it is. Make the best of it this year with all those 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, just steady stockpile of late draft picks that I've got.
Right. So I want to kind of show you guys something I've been working on. I showed Osborne earlier today, and unfortunately it didn't go so great. I was working on it late last night, but I couldn't get it ready in time for this video. But I'll keep everyone updated in the Discord or in the GroupMe, and maybe we can figure out how to get this working, and I'll get it out to everyone. But what it is it's just a tool that scrapes NFL.com for our data, and it compares it against fantasy football calculators ADPs. So I'm going to just give a quick example here. I'm going to run it. So as you can see here, it pops up with a little thing. It's not currently working great as far as this goes. I got to fix that. But we'll just select a team. It's going to say invalid selection. Don't listen to that. It's parsing. It's parsing information right now. So um, this is my team. And the results are pretty accurate as far as what's going on. So let's just take Carson Wentz, for example. Carson Wentz, as we can see here, I selected him. No one selected him. No one selected him last year. I don't believe so. So let's just see if anyone drafted old Carson Wentz. Yeah, no one did. So I'm assuming that he has a projected value of 180 in my code, and I'm subtracting what he's going for this year. So I'm assuming he's going around 71. Let me just pull up fantasy football calculator. We'll go with PPR 12 teams list. We'll find Wentz, and yep, he's going for 71. So I'm gonna get working with rounds. I'm gonna get the input working. I'm gonna make a lot of changes over the next week, and hopefully by next weekend, it's something that you can use to pull down the keeper data from our league and compare it against what's out there. So it can help you look around the league, see what people are doing, see what people have at their disposal. Hopefully it's something we can use in years to come. I'm gonna do my best to make it make it future proof.
It's pretty exciting stuff. You obviously put a lot of work into it, and I know everyone's going to appreciate getting an opportunity to get that information without having to put the work in themselves. Some of us already have our like Charlie room from It's Always Sunny with all the lines drawn everybody across, and so I'm just going to throw that out the window now. But that's okay.
I've already gone through and done all the math. It's definitely not easier for me, but hopefully it's something cool that we can use in the league.
Well, that's why you're going to get reelected as commissioner, though. The work you do for us day in and day out to make the experience as high as it can be for all of us. We really appreciate it.
So apparently Osborne didn't realize that A2LM is a recurring yearly voting process. He just assumed he was A2LM for life. So he's been a little salty, and he's been lashing out by proposing a commissioner democratic selection, and I don't think that's what this is.
Oh no, the people might want it. We'll see. They could demand it.
If there is a coup, I will squelch it. All right. So that being said, A2LM bids are going to be coming up soon. I started a Google Calendar. I can share it if anybody wants, but you can see that the projected draft date I have right now is the weekend of the 25th and the 26th of August. I think this is going to work because it's not Labor Day weekend, meaning a lot more people can, they're not traveling that weekend. I know some of y'all have kids now, so you're probably going to see family and stuff. Hopefully this works for everyone. If not, we'll try and figure something going forward. But right now, that's probably going to be our tentative projected draft date. Get to me if you can't make that date, and we'll try and accommodate for you. Do you have any input on that, Osborne?
No, it works for me. I know that the family thing's kind of big for everybody, but I think that it's good to push it back there. I'm on board.
Right.
I'll make it.
Yeah. Me too. That's actually, I'm in a class right now. It runs through the 17th. So, yeah, I should be good to go come the 25th. I'll have a whole week of research. So yeah, projected draft date. We're gonna do rule change voting 2 weeks beforehand. And normally, in my mind when I created the league, I thought, oh, we'll just vote all at once. It'll be like a fun thing. But I kind of like the way we've been doing rule changes, like through GroupMe, through polls. you know, because it's a little more simple. We can break it down one by one. We can do conversations and talk about it. I think GroupMe is a good way, a good forum
Yeah.
for talking about stuff. So if anyone is opposed to that, let me know. I mean, the voting system's not perfect. You kind of get to see how other people have voted before or after you vote. You can change your vote, and I don't really like that. But
You can go to
I
an online tool of some sort if you wanted to. I mean,
yeah, I just I don't want to bring in too much stuff. You know, like
yeah.
the minimum amount of software you need to communicate with League. I want to keep it
Yep.
down. Uh, yeah, so A2LM bid beginning July 28th. I am projecting. So if anyone's interested in putting in for A2LM, obviously Osborne did a great job last year. You're just gonna, if you look at the Constitution, it just says you help with any kind of disciplinary stuff if anyone doesn't set their lineup, or if I go on vacation, you might have to do things throughout the site. But it's a good opportunity to get involved.
Yeah.
Obviously, Osborne and I are going to continue to do these videos. Hopefully, I know last year we kind of died off after like week 5 or 6
Yeah.
ish. Uh, but I'm not promising anything, but I want to do better this year. I want to do better every year, and
Yeah.
this year is included in that.
I think we got room to grow, which is good. If we'd knocked it out of the park first year, what would we improve upon this year? So maybe this year we get to like week 8 or 9, right?
Oh, so 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 second place. You have room to improve.
Have room to improve. I
Okay.
didn't want to get first. That's what happened. Yeah.
Maybe we need to like set a graph for you over here. Uh we'll do a graph of your place at the start and at the beginning, and room to improve. Room to
Yeah.
improve.
Uh,
Um,
we'll see how it goes. I think there's going to be a lot of room to improve by the end of this year.
well, I've already got room to improve. But I think I got some good keepers coming. I think I got a good draft pick coming.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, this stream we are going to be doing a set of picks, of flips and draft lotteries to determine the order of the draft. So let me quickly explain that to you guys. This is our league constitution. If no any of you have not seen it yet, I pity you. I spent a lot of time working on it, and I think it's pretty badass. It
I
explains
think it's grounds
everything.
for expulsion. If you haven't read this yet, why are you even in the league?
It's a good thing to read to help you understand the way the league works. And if you don't understand it from reading it, just let me know, and I can explain or I can clarify, because maybe I'm not seeing it. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So one thing in here is this right here. So second and third place. In the eyes of the league, you each of you won a game in the playoff, so you are each 1-1 in the playoffs.
Yep.
That makes you equal.
Yep.
Because there's no way to determine. Obviously you could say second place did better than third place because third place didn't make it to the finals. Yeah, that's true, but you also you got to keep the third and fourth place game relevant. So
Yeah.
this is a way to make that matter, make people want to try throughout the season, even when they've lost in the playoffs. You can keep going to get a better draft pick, and that's exactly what this is. So, that being said, second and third place are going to have a coin flip, and we're going to do that right now. Our second place winner was the Jacksonville Jaguars, Mr. Osborne himself. Third place, if we have Mr. Steven Pippen. Congratulations to Steve. So yeah. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to hit submit, and the results are going to pop up. It's going to say Jacksonville Jaguars pick 1, Washington Redskins pick 2, or vice versa. Pick 1 will represent what is it? The 10th pick.
Yes.
And pick 2 will represent the 11th pick. In addition to this one, we're going to be doing another flip for 6th and 7th between Kimner and Hinshaw, and then the coup de grace,
The what?
the fireworks. I don't know.
There's no P in there, right? Like that's silent.
The quip. So the way the bottom 4 draft picks work is it's a system. It's a ball system similar to the NBA lottery. 12th place gets 4 balls. 11th place gets 3 balls. 10th place 2 balls. 9th place 1 ball. So all the balls are going to go into this, lottery wheel. We're going to spin the wheel, and we're going to pull a ball for first place. And then we're going to pull a ball for second, third, and fourth draft pick. And effectively, this site is doing all that for us. As you can see, Shy has the most balls because he did the worst. Geringer has 3, McKay 2, Fogarty 1. And this is how we're going to determine who has the first, second, third, and fourth draft pick in this year's draft. So, with that being said, if anyone has any comments on this and you're in Twitch chat, feel free to post about it. Any questions you have, we'll do our best to get to you. But yeah, let's do this flip for the 10th and 11th draft pick. So when it hit submit.
Let's go.
All right. So let's see who has the 10th draft pick. Okay.
Come on, hook me up. Let's see it.
All right. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Congratulations to Osborne. So he will be having
big moment.
10th pick in the draft, and Pippin will have the 11th pick in the draft.
Got to win something, I guess, right?
Yeah. I gotta say, congratulations to each of you guys. You both had really good seasons. It's definitely nothing to feel bad about being second and third. Obviously, I've got to say congratulations to Dalton. He wasn't able to be here with us today, but hopefully we bring him in for videos in the future, and hopefully he continues to do well. He was in my division this year, and last year, and it was a lot of fun playing it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually pretty impressed with the parity across the league. I kind of thought that we'd maybe see a couple dominant teams be in one division, but the parity actually evened itself out in the end. I do think your division was very tough, though.
Yeah, I think
very tough.
I think I was in a tough division.
Yeah.
I scored a lot of points, but it wasn't good enough.
Right.
But yeah, it's a new fantasy season. Everyone's got a chance. Honestly, some of those teams that didn't do so well, they have a really good chance now because they have some keepers to roll forward with. The lottery gives them a chance to improve, especially if we're going to move to this non-snake draft, just a linear draft. So, if Shy gets the first overall pick, you remember how bad Shy was last year. You remember how unlucky Shy was last year? The injuries Shy went through?
It was one after the next for that poor guy.
Yeah, and man, how terrible would it be if he did not get the first overall pick?
Oh my gosh, he's got the best odds, right?
He's got the best odds. He's got he's got a 50-50 that he is the number one.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm rooting for old Geringer. I got his second round pick. Let's see him slide into that top spot. That'd be real nice.
Yeah. I guess it's not true that he has a 50-50, right? Because there are 9 balls total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
9 balls total. So he's
got a good chance.
Yeah. Obviously better than anyone else. We'll see.
It's 10 balls total.
10 balls?
4, 3, 2, 1, right?
4, 3, 2, 1? Yeah, 10. Yeah, so he has a 40%.
Yeah. So we'll see. It'd be pretty funny to see old Fogarty slide into that top spot.
Man.
That'll...
If Bill gets it, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do.
So if you guys see the screen go black after the third selection in the lottery, we know why.
Yeah. Anyway, so moving forward with what we're going to talk about today, I wanted to take a chance. Oh, I never demoed my code, did I?
You did. You went through. You showed that you've got the ability to show the 2 players, and that it's going to essentially minus is good because that's the draft differential.
Right.
And I think that's going to honestly be really nice, especially leading into the keeper phase, because I think that's new for most people. This is the first serious keeper league I've been in. I think you're probably the only one who's had serious leagues with keepers in it. So.
All right. So So let's just take a quick look at what entails a keeper league. So each of us has our team that we are able to keep 5 players.
Yep.
So let's take, for example, Tarek Cohen. Now I'm gonna talk about the way the rules currently work. There are currently changes in place in the rule change voting, but I want to give you a good representation of how things are going to work going forward. Maybe they change, maybe they don't, but this is going to give you a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
So let's look at where Tarek Cohen was taken in last year's draft. So you go to draft results here in the 2017 history part. I like to go to view all round, and you can just control F for whoever you're looking for. So I'm going to look for Cohen, and I don't see him. So he was a free agent, and free agent means last round, right?
Yep.
We will look at keeper settings. Where I specify it somewhere. I just want to make sure that I'm saying this right. Players.
So while you're looking, do you want to show everybody, because I've had a couple questions about it already, do you want to show everybody how you were able to see the entire roster laid out like that? Obviously, you can go through the keeper selection and see the players you have available, but to be able to look at the Week 16 results from last year and actually see who's available to your team in one snapshot might help some of our players in the league. So if you want to show them how you did that, that'd be great.
Yeah, let's go through it slowly. So anytime you want to look at any kind of historical stuff, because if you go to my team right now, right, it's just gonna be blank with the keepers you have in your bench. So I go to league homepage. Right up here, you see history. So click history, and then you're gonna select the 2017 season up here at the top. So that's going to be where you reference, and you can go all the way back to our 2012 season. Man, 2012. 2012. This league has been going on for a long time.
It's been a minute.
All right. So we go to the 2017 season, our last season, and you go to my team. And this is going to be where your team was whenever they locked everything right after the championship game. So, as you can see, this was my lineup. I had Tarek Cohen. I had a few other guys that are worth keeping. But yeah, now we figure out who we want to keep, right?
Yep. Let you see that snapshot of your team.
Right. So I recommend rolling through this and seeing wherever every player was drafted. So like Drew Brees, I think I took him in the 4th. I can go back to where I showed you in the history. 2017 season and draft results. Yep. Draft results is going to be what you want. And just I find Breeze. I took him at 66. A good way to figure out the round if you don't want to have to like go by round and go I think he was in the 4th. Right. Maybe he's in the 5th. Was he in the 3rd?
70th, he'd be around the 5th or 6th, right?
Yeah, 6th. Okay, so there he is, Drew Brees. So I think the easier way to do it is just to divide. So 66 divided by 12 teams, 5.5. So that would mean he was in the 6th. You just round up, and that'll tell you what round that player was taken in.
Which is pretty handy.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely makes it easier.
So you determine. So I paid a 6th round for Drew Brees last year. If I want to keep him, I would have to give up a 5th rounder. My 5th rounder, since I'm in the draft lottery this year, is probably going to be one of the first 4 picks. So 49, 50, 51, or 52. I'm not so sure that Drew Brees is going to be worth that much to me. So I'm likely not going to keep him, and he will be redrafted again this year. But that's how you look at that. Yep. So if anyone has any questions about how keepers work further, I recommend you check out the Constitution or talk to myself or Osborne, and we can get you the information you need.
Yeah. I think that gives a pretty good picture for everybody to figure out how to navigate the screens and really start to work it out. And when your tool gets done, that'll be really helpful. So. Yeah, I think you set them up nicely.
yeah, hopefully the tool will help everyone.
Mhm.
I can distribute it via Git, and you can use it or change it. If you want some Python code that scrapes those sites and pulls information for you, you can use it to do any kind of research you want. So
And Gons, just let us know. We'll take a screen cap of it for you and just send it to you so that you don't have to worry about all that.
sure, yeah. Um, moving along, I think we need to talk real quick about the rule change log.
Ooh, this is what I'm excited about.
So, just to kind of get you guys thinking about it, I want to talk about each of these items and just what they mean, and you can start to post your comments and stuff in the
Yeah.
group me, and we can really start talking about what it's going to mean for the league. So the first one is one I'm pretty adamant about. It's the linear draft after year one. The best way to help those teams that are underperforming is to move to a linear draft, and this was my vision when I created the league. But yeah, it's just moving to a way of creating team progression similar to the way the NFL works. So, if anyone doesn't know, snake draft normally, you pick first in the first round, you pick last in the second round. This one, it's just like the NFL, where if you're the worst team in the league, if you're the Browns, you're picking one every round. So,
Yeah.
so Shy, coincidentally, is the Browns of our league, and he will be making that first pick. I mean,
Most likely.
possibly.
We don't know yet. We
Yeah.
don't know yet.
So,
Like you making it seem like we're doing some shady shit behind the scenes over here with that kind of talk.
well, yeah. Well, we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah. Uh, to that point, one thing that I'm really interested to see going into next year and something we'll have to discuss is how we're going to do the draft in the future years if this is too much of a power swing to the bad teams. So potentially doing something like first through three, rounds 1, 2, and 3 will be a linear, and then we'll move to snake after. But a lot of that gets challenging for Brent when it comes to the actual draft and setup. So some of our rule changes that we have listed later on might help with some of that. But that's just something to think about: is how much is the power curve going to swing when we go to this type of a draft?
Right. So just remember that a lot of this stuff, we want to implement complicated rules and rules to fix things and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, implementing these in NFL.com, it's not always easy. You know what I mean? It's not always easy to get things exactly the way we want. And right now, we kind of have to change some of our rules to fit their platform. One thing in particular is right here. Oh, that's not it.
We could talk about that now because that's going to look like play into everything else.
Yeah, but I mean, I wanted to kind of talk about off-season trades and free agency.
The one below it, yeah.
Yeah. So in my mind, when I started the league, I thought on NFL.com during the off-season I could trade and pick up free agents and do everything the way I was doing it in the season as I was out of the season. And that's just not
Yep.
the way it works. They lock their stuff down at the end of the football season. They don't open it until it's time to draft. So moving to a paid site would probably fix that. Uh, there is
Yeah.
a little bit of money for that going forward if we want. We'll talk about that in a second, but um,
But to your
yeah,
point, there's a lot of work that goes into navigating which picks got traded, making sure that the keepers get selected in the correct place. And NFL.com does kind of limit some of those functional, aspects to the rule changes we want to implement. So that's why we ask for a little more time up front for some of these things, and it's why some of these rules exist that we want to talk about. But yeah, that's kind of where we're sitting with it. So do you want to go through linear draft, the extended draft pick time frame, and the idea of weighted keepers, and then maybe we'll look at pick 6 and 7 and see how they might end up in the lottery?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, so last year, if you'll remember, we had a little bit of trouble with the 30-second draft timer. in my mind, I thought everyone's done their research. This is going to be easy. We'll get everyone out of here quick. You know, it doesn't always move so smoothly when the guy before you takes the player you're eyeing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think we need to extend the timer a little bit. I'm going to put a survey out and see what people think, 45 or 60 seconds, maybe longer, you know. But we can get the dialogue started, and we'll make a change based off that.
Yeah.
Pippin came up with a tiered way of implementing keepers. Now, keep in mind, this would be pretty hard for. I mean, it would be hard. It'd be a little time consuming for myself and the A2LM to do. But effectively, players taken in rounds 1 through 4 would have a keeper cost of. And I guess it should actually say 2 through 4 because you can't keep a first one in this one.
Right.
But you take a second rounder, you pay a first. You take a fourth rounder, you pay a third. And then when you get to fifth rounders, you pay 2 higher because they have the chance of being more having a higher variable, right? Because sometimes you take a Kareem Hunt in the fifth, and he's worth a third, or he's worth a second, or he's worth a first, and you're only paying, under the system we currently work under, you're only paying a fourth. In this system, you'd be paying a third. So a fifth would pay a third, a ninth would pay a seventh, and then once you reach into the 10th through free agent rounds, you would pay 3 rounds higher, so that even grows more. So a 10th would cost a seventh.
I do think there's some room to find something that works, whether it's a free agent can get a weighted average with where he's expected to go versus the 180th pick, or there's something in there. I think both Brent and I have discussed the challenges that come with this hard line, and that can kind of clash with what we're setting up a little bit. But I do agree that, if someone picks up a free agent and they get to keep him for a last round pick that turns out to be a superstar, that gives them a significant advantage over the league for years to come. And I'm not sure how we're going to view that going forward. And that might be something to keep an eye on is how to avoid someone developing a super team with a lucky hit on a free agent pickup.
Yeah. So that said, we still have a lot to talk about. Let's do our next flip. The next one is between Kimner and Henshaw. This is going to determine who gets the 6th pick and who gets the 7th pick. So that being said,
Henshaw's with us, by the way. So before you do this, Henshaw is our only viewer. So Henshaw, do you have anything you want to say? You excited? I know you're in the stream here. Anything you want to add before we do this? I know you're in the stream here. We'll give him a second to catch up to us.
Definitely.
Before we do this,
I want to keep old Henny involved.
We'll give him a second. I know, right?
Yeah.
He's joined us. I was hoping we'd get Kemner from across the Atlantic, but unfortunately he had to go, so wasn't able to get him in here. All right, just go for it. You heard him, folks.
All right.
Let's do it. Yep. He's expecting
the worst. Let's see if this says my old buddy Henshaw right here. It does. So Henshaw, congratulations.
All right. Congratulations, man. You're rewarded for your viewership. That's fantastic.
Clearly, everyone here in the video has won their flip. So.
Yep. Oh, does that mean you're gonna take the top spot from good old Shy?
We'll see. Hopefully.
I won't be upset with that.
Yeah, we'll see. We're gonna save this for the end of the video.
Yeah, we'll finish with the finale. Obviously, we'll finish the finale. God.
Can we make that 5th since I'm here? No. That 5th place actually went to the winner of the consolation rounds.
Yep.
Who was that?
That was, I got it over here. Give me just a moment. That was the Indianapolis Colts.
That was Cook.
Yep.
Man, it's a really good place to be in when you win the consolation, because the consolation actually really matters in this league because you're playing for picks. So you don't want to give up. And I thought
between the weekly winnings, the way the draft lottery works throughout the season, I think it's a great way to keep people engaged throughout the year.
Yeah. So, moving on. I want to talk about some more of these changes. And the next one I want to talk about is clearing up the failure to set the lineup verbiage. So I can show you in here what it says. It says failure to set lineups can result in you getting thrown out of the league. And last year, Henshaw had a bit of an issue where he didn't want to start anyone because he wanted to intentionally throw the game. And you know, there are a lot of things we're trying to emulate in the league. You know, we want it to feel like it's, you know, it really matters. You know, do we? Of course, the NFL would make people play. You know, they make the Browns throw out. You know,
Well, anyone on the roster.
they make them put them. You know, the amount. They got 10 men on the field. You know, they're close enough.
Right.
So
That might be an improvement. I mean,
obviously, I don't think we can enforce who you put out on the field, but I don't know. It's kind of hard moving forward. So what we're gonna do is just like all the other rule changes, we're gonna throw up some polls on GroupMe, and we'll get some input and see how we want to handle that going forward.
I will say I think one thing to think about going forward for the league is spirit of the law. Obviously, we are not lawyers. We're not going to write a 60-page constitution. If you know, we can kind of follow what the intent is for the most part with some of the rules in here. That really does help rather than relying on technicalities. And I know that Henshaw wasn't trying to break the league in any way. He was putting himself in a position. He was doing, you know, something clever to win. So this is not a knock on him. It's just the specific example that came up last year. So we'll throw some suggestions in the GroupMe and see what we can come up with, and maybe find something that works for everybody.
Right. Let's see here. I think we've already kind of talked about clearing up the keeper persisted round through time. Right now, you know, if you take someone in the 8th, next year you have to pay a 7th. So
Yep.
he's essentially drafted at the 7th round. So you have to pay a 6th the next year. One thing that currently stands in the league is that you have to use your original picks that you get at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And I would not mind this change. It's being able to use picks that's acquired from other teams through trades. I think it helps a lot because you know, you don't have to plan on, oh, well, I'm going to want to keep this guy, but I'm trading for this guy, so I have to keep my original 4th rounder. So this is something I could see changing. I don't know if changing this draft is what I want to do. Because I would like to give people the chance of, you know, maybe they included in their strategy that they were keeping those picks so that they could keep those players. But yeah, it's just something to consider moving forward.
I do think that one kind of takes us to the trade period pre-draft that's at the bottom of the page, because they can kind of impact each other. And it is a tough one with the fact that we spent the first year with a little bit of lack of clarity exactly with how to do your pick trading. And that's something where we're going to want to hear from you guys. So once we get to that trade period pre-draft, maybe talk to you guys about what you're looking to see, because we don't want someone to have made a critical decision throughout the season last year and then have the rule change in them right at the 11th hour now that kind of eliminates the work they did. So I think both Brent and I think there's value in taking any pick you have and using it for the keeper if it's the appropriate round. And we're both okay with a trade period, a free agency period in the offseason. We just don't want to undermine last season's decision-making going into this year. So
right.
That's something that we want to talk to you guys about.
Something else I want to point out, and maybe this hasn't been clear, is that you know, you take someone in the 8th and you want to use 7th to get him, but you traded away your 7th. You can always use a 6th, right? If he's worth a 6th, use him with take him with a 6th. Yeah, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be a pick higher. It just has to be a pick above.
Yep.
Obviously, it's best to use, you know, you get the most value out of keeping an 8th with a 7th, but if you have to use a 6th, I mean, that's your decision, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's where we can alleviate some of it, though, because if I trade for a player, so I have 2 8th rounders that I want to keep, I'm not having to force one into the 7th or into the 6th round. I can just trade for another 7th round pick and be able to take them both there and kind of push that decision of which one's going to get bumped up a year further down the line. So I think there's a lot of value to kind of opening up how we use our picks for keepers going forward. So that's a discussion that's coming up.
Right. Schedule rotation. So something I was thinking about, and I don't know how people feel about this, but right now the way the schedule is set up, you play the same team in the same week every year. Uh, I don't know if people like this or not. One side of me says, hey, the Broncos play the Raiders in Week 14, right before the playoffs, every single year. Maybe I want to be playing Dalton and being the gatekeeper that keeps him in or knocks him out of the playoffs. But I mean, the way the schedule's set up, you're going to be playing those 3 divisional rounds. You're playing everyone in your division the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
So I think there's benefit from rotating, and I think there is benefit from not rotating. So that's another thing we're going to be put out in a poll. We're going to say, hey, how do you feel about rotating schedules? Do you want to play the same team the same week every year, or are you interested in rotating that and getting some variation? It's not a super important thing, but it is something to consider.
Yeah, I think that's definitely worth discussing. And it kind of touches on a bigger point, which is going to have to come up in years to come. So if you can come up with a great solution in time, that'd be great. And that's, do we rotate our divisions at all? And who's in the divisions? Because I love being Jalen Ramsey, Jacksonville Jaguar supporter, and getting to play against good old Kemner every single year. But maybe down the line we find out that McKay's division is genuinely just a powerhouse. Every single year, the 4 teams are just the best teams in the league, and that's not great for parity within the league. So something for us to take a look at. If you guys can come up with an idea for how we would rotate divisions in future years so that we can maintain parity, that'd be great.
That's the first time you've ever mentioned that to me. That's very interesting.
Oh, I wanted to slide that in right now because I just thought of it. Yeah. This is a down the line thing. We're talking years down the line. Now, I'm not trying to sneak that into this year's idea of rule changes by any means. This is a year 5. McKay's division has won 4 or 5 years in a row with 3 of the best teams, and one of the best teams is consistently sitting in the lottery, which obviously would be frustrating for that player if they hadn't won, and it would really just further cement the powerhouse that is that division. So lots of interesting things going on there. Just something to think about.
Yeah, something to think about. All right, so moving forward, trophy pool. We still have $40 in the pot from last year, and this year we'll have another $40. I want to do something with it that can improve the league. I want to do something with it. As you can see here, the trophy pool is allotted $40. Yeah, I want to do something something to what am I looking for here, Osborne?
So we want to do something meaningful with the trophy, obviously, but it is tough as everyone moves around and is starting to get more spread out. Having a trophy that gets sent around becomes a logistical problem. However, we want that $40 to continue to improve the league. We saw the trophy as a way to do that. One of the questions we have really for you guys is, do you value having a physical trophy that gets mailed around regularly? Or do we want to use that $40 towards something else that makes the league better? And maybe it is a something that goes towards a paid site. Maybe it is a trophy, but maybe it just gets put back into the prize pool and somebody come up with a better solution. But it is money that is sitting there. We obviously aren't just trying to hold everyone's money for an indefinite period of time. We'd like to come up with some sort of solution prior to the kickoff of the season. Brent and I have a couple ideas we've bounced around, and we'll probably send some feelers out. But if you have anything that you've thought of, please feel free to share it with the group.
Right. So if you want to use that money on going towards a paid site or towards maybe we could say we break up the season by quarters, and each quarter of the season, whoever posted the most or was
Either division winners,
division leaders. Yeah, that could be something. Yeah, I don't know. It's something to consider. If not, we can just roll it in the first place pot, and instead that player takes home $340.
Yeah.
So it is 340, 300.
I think there's room to pay that second place person more than just their money back. That's an option. We can retroactively do that for last year. Go forward with that.
I like it, and I don't. The reason that I consider those 2 teams each going 1-1 in the playoffs.
Oh, I know.
So
That being said, I mean, I don't disagree with you. Whatever. So this is not meant to be a disagreement. It is one thing that is the challenge of doing the fantasy football league with the divisions. There is going to be some fairness that comes into play, and sometimes you're going to get the bad end of the stick. So we want to try and level that playing field as much as we can. And anytime you guys come up with an idea to do so, please let us know.
so this is your idea, so I'll let you explain it.
All right. So it's going to be tough for people to stick with free agency and trading throughout the entire summer. So rather than having an open trade and free agency period from the end of the season to the start of the next, I was hoping that we could propose or do something where it's like a 2-week window right before the season starts when everyone's kind of in their research mode to allow people to trade draft picks, trade players. And there's 2 ways I'm looking at it. One is that we just do a trade period, and it is only players that are on your roster, and it's only picks you currently have that you can trade. The other side of it, and I think a second vote, would be whether we'd allow for free agency or not, and whether those players would be tradable during the offseason or not. I think a good step in the right direction would be to start with a trade period and then move past it. As Brent said before, we are discussing the idea of pushing all of the rule changes into next year because the decisions from last year were made with last year's rules in mind. So this is one where we're looking at the same thing. We're going to look at implementing it next year. However, the idea of doing it this year is on the table if that's something that everybody wants. But if someone did make a decision that is going to be impacted by this, then I think that it's only fair to push it to next year. So that's going to be something that gets sent out. If you have any more questions on it, please let me know. I'm happy to discuss it further with anybody. Brent, you have anything to follow up with that?
No, I think you did a good job of explaining it. Just wanted to add in that it was my intention to allow trades during before the draft. Obviously, that's kind of gone to the wayside with the way the site works. But keep in mind, the trades all have to be done by hand by myself or Osborne. So it could be a little tricky with multi-person picking up, adding, dropping players. So just keep in mind that it's going to be extensive for myself and Osborne. We don't mind doing it, but I also do.
Well, luckily, I don't think I'm going to have anything to do for like a week in August. So this year, there's some room for some manual labor when it comes to adjusting things. But I think making it easier going forward would be great because that's not always going to be the case where I've got a full week to just sit down and dedicate it to whatever I want. So that, yeah, and that's where the paid site comes in. And that's something that I know we discussed throughout the year last year. And I know that it was kind of it was a cool reception at the time, but after seeing it kind of behind the scenes and seeing what you go through on the NFL site as the manager and seeing some of the rules that come up and what we want to do, I've definitely turned to being an advocate for a more customizable paid site for the future of our league, especially if we're planning on sticking around for a few years with the same players and the same teams. So. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have anything you want to add towards paid sites. I think everyone's relatively aware of the value of those. So that's just something we'll have to discuss.
Yeah, I mean, they offer more customization. Obviously, I don't want to pay $80 a year on site access, but we'll see what y'all say, and then we'll move on from there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to reinforce these draft dates. The potential draft date here, the rule change voting has to happen 2 weeks beforehand, and then the A2LM bid begins 1 month before. We'll probably do the vote the day before the draft. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so just keep those in mind. If anybody wants this calendar, let me know, and I will shoot it out to everyone in the group, and we can add to it and take away from it as we need.
Sounds good.
Maybe if you have some dates you can't make, just pop them up on the calendar and we'll do our best to work around it. All right.
I think that covers most of what we wanted to hit today. I Was there anything else we wanted to do? Lottery, anything like that?
Uh, yeah, I guess the only thing left to do is this, right?
I think this is it.
Okay.
This is exciting. This is final. So, good luck to you, obviously.
Yeah.
Good luck to the rest of the teams in the lottery. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm really rooting for Geringer because I've got that second round pick. But I guess let's let it roll and see what happens.
Oh boy. All right. So we did some preliminary, attempts at this, and Shy walked away with most of them, but
Yeah.
there were some upsets, and I'm excited to see what happens. This is definitely one of the better parts of
This
doing
is like
game.
why I'm here today, almost. Like all the rules, yeah, whatever. This is exciting.
All right. So the person who will be picking fourth in this year's draft
Mhm.
is me. Oh God, damn it!
What place were you in?
I finished third, so
That means someone jumped.
Fogarty is now in the running with
Woo!
his 1 out of 10 balls. All right, let's see third. I'm guessing this is Fogarty. It
Oh,
is.
there it is. There it is. Okay. So Shy and Geringer. Let's go,
All right,
Geringer.
so Shy Geringer. Geringer has 3. Shy has 4.
Let's go,
Uh,
G.
yeah, yeah.
Come
Obviously,
on.
Shy needs it, but he did not get it. Geringer will be taking the first overall pick in this year's draft. By extension, Osborne will be picking first in the second round. Congratulations, guys. Yeah,
That's exciting.
It
This
is
is
what it
it.
is. So,
That's what it is. Oh man, I was like low key rooting for Fogarty to take first, just because the shit show that would have come out of that would have been
oh man.
unbearable for you, but just delightful for all of us.
Yeah.
So he did hop you though, so every round he has a chance to snipe the player you want. So
That's true. I didn't think about
every
that. Yeah.
every single round. So
Fortunately, he drafts Fogarty drafts Jeff Gordon's. You know what I mean? Or Jeff Gordon, Josh Gordon's.
I mean
So-
he drafts Jeff Gordon's too.
He drafts all sorts. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
He's an equal opportunity drafter, that's for sure.
Um,
Well, that's it. Do we have fireworks or sound effects or anything to celebrate? No.
no soundboard. I'm gonna get some soundboards in the future. We'll pop off some sounds. It'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll work on the overlay too. This is a little bit of a from the grave recycling of last year's, but we'll see if we can't.
Yeah, I got a new
come up with something
computer, so
fresh.
I got a new computer, so I had to completely remake all this, and it looks all right, but I don't know.
We have room to improve. Couple things that we didn't really touch on. One, I'd love to have people out on the videos going forward. It would make it a lot easier, I think, for me and speak for you a little bit, McKay, on this to continue to do it throughout the season. It's tough to come up with the content on your own each week, especially with work and everything going on in life. So sometimes you just don't have it in you to come up with some good content. So the more you guys are involved, the easier it will be to continue to put out videos. I know that McKay would love to get Dalton on in person, seeing as how they live in the same location. Gaunt's, I'm going to throw that invitation out to you as well, seeing as how I'll be local for the next couple of years. Maybe we can find something that works. But yeah, anytime that you guys have an idea you want to see for the VOD or want to be a part of it, we'd love to have you and love to work with you on it. So that's all I've got. Brent?
I think that just about covers it. We're at 53 minutes. I think that's a good episode.
Yep.
Everybody, thanks for watching. I'll post this up on YouTube here in a few minutes, so hopefully anyone who wants to enjoy it can later. Thanks. Talk to you later.
See you guys.